As everyone knows, the first 7 days of June are when the big dogs of the industry show off new games and hardware, also known as not E3 week. And Sony, Xbox, and Jeff Keighley have finished up their showcases, and now it's time to talk about them. What's up, everybody? My name is Nephilim Cake, and this is not E3, the winners and the losers. First off, Sony has a strong lineup of games to show. Ace Combat 8 returns with an October release date later this year, and shout out to the franchise for always giving the community exactly what they want, no less, always more. On show The Chef, or my personal title, Cooking Daddy, is a prequel to the Dave the Diver games. Now, I'm not gonna act like I have any knowledge of the Dave the Diver lore, but this does look decent, so I'll let the real fans decide. Control Resonant, another one of my beloved titles to look forward to. It gets a release date of September later this year, and I just can't wait any longer. The world Remedy built with Alan Wake, Quantum Break, and Control have always drawn me in, and this looks like another treat. God of War Lawfare shook the britches of all the incels worldwide when they found out that Kratos' wife puts belt to ass and is taking the main stage. And I don't get the hate, but I will be getting this game when it drops in the future. And in L for Sony, they chose to show gameplay for Marathon's new season, which had already been out for a week. Strange choice, but one they choose to make, so whatever. Marvel Tokon Fighting Soul shows off Magneto, Green Goblin, and Carnage, with them joining Doom to form the Knights of Doom. My hype meter is off the charts for this as a lover of Marvel and fighting games. Wolverine comes in and slams the show, showing off combat, stealth, and some story bits along with Jean Grey. Seriously, I'm so glad the game is coming out. When the alpha footage was leaked and people were shitting on it, I stood fast and told the masses, let them cook, for the feast was not yet ready. Onimusha came and announced the demo along with a gameplay trailer with all the sex appeal of a fully armor-clad samurai, and I am aroused. Honestly, I'd give the Sony showcase a solid 8 out of 10. While not showing as many games in that goofy marathon segment, I think the show was solid and gave us what we wanted as an audience. Next, Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest came out swinging, feeling not just like a showcase, but a celebration of games as a whole, with some choice titles to announce and premiere. Final Fantasy VII Revelation debuted its trailer, giving a glimpse into how the classic tale ends for the modern era. And this time, it's dropping to all platforms simultaneously, so now no one misses the climax of this classic story. If Jeff ever wanted to run for president, he's got the furry vote on lock, with announcing that The Wolf Among Us 2 is alive and in production, and the original is getting a remaster this holiday season. Big gifts in the chat for Jeff. Come on, furry community, give it up for him. The original Wolf Among Us was a great narrative-driven game that pulled us into the world where fairy tales lived alongside people, and I can't wait to see more of that. Speaking of furries, this one is for the ones that hunt them, as Monster Hunter Wilds gets an expansion announcement called Ascendance. We see our hunter take to the floating ruins of the sky, encountering new threats, and now Elder Dragons have joined the roster too, with the likes of Kushala Daora and Shilong Xiaolong. Lang Xiaolong? I always get confused. Outside of the technical issues that plagued the game at release and into the game long term, I'd say I'd still praise Wilds as a pretty amazing entry in the Monster Hunter franchise. So stay safe, hunters. Next up is Amsterdam 1666. Now, I know the gaming space isn't the nicest to women, but maybe we should rethink that. I don't think 32 gigabytes of RAM can take on a witch with black magic, and personally, I like my soul where it's at, and where you can find this game is in early access on PC later this year, with a console version at a later date. Now, I know you guys were expecting Mafia the Old Country to get DLC, right? No? Oh, you're getting DLC. Yep. Moving on, Guild Wars 3 was announced, and it didn't give many details, but we are getting a beta later 2027. Now, I hear Guild Wars 2 was good, but I didn't have a PC at the time and I was way too young. It'll be a great chance for me to see what the franchise is all about. Now, To see these former COD devs are up to the snuff, we have Crossfire, a single-player, story-driven game about two enemy soldiers working together to survive some kind of biological and military-industrial complex-based shenanigans. Not gonna lie, when I first heard about this game, I blew it off as another COD killer FPS, but I've grown an interest in what I've seen. I won't deny it, I'm straight confused. Why is Tupac in Japan? Is the question I've been asking myself, seeing how I've accepted Snoop Dogg and Stranger Than Heaven as well. And my only true question is, can we get ODB in this too? Hell, the whole damn Wu-Tang Clan. All jokes aside though, I'm excited for this, and it's January 2027 release date. Question though, do you like your underwear? Well, I would change them because Creative Assembly, Sega, and 20th Century Games seek to ruin your favorite pair of undies once more with Alien Isolation 2. Now, no set release date or anything, but from the trailer we can see that the tension and the atmosphere are key, and I'm as excited as this new location on what seems to be some kind of backwater planet is going to give us new ways to evade the xenomorph and new ways for it to surprise us. Speaking of terror and running away, Resident Evil Code Veronica is getting remade. Now, just Resident Evil Veronica. It seems as if Claire is in France still searching for Chris, or she lost him again. Now, I've never played the original Code Veronica, but if it's the same level of quality as the other remakes and sequels of Resident Evil, then I am sure this game will keep Capcom on the generational run they've been on the last few years. And that's the major showings for Jeff and the Summer Games Fest. If I had to give it a score it deserves, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Bangers after bangers with a focus on games that everyone will love, no matter the audience. Jeff, you did it again, my guy. Finally, we get to the Xbox Game Showcase, and new leader Asha Sharma takes the helm for the first time. And celebrating 25 years of Xbox with a little reassurance that they aren't going anywhere, he announces a limited Series X transparent green colored console and controller. Now, while this should be about the games mostly, this is pretty cool, and I hope people can get a hold of one of these before the scalpers come. You know what's a lot like scalping? They're extraction shooters, and COD just showed their extraction mode, DMZ, with an in-game engine demonstration of what can happen in this mode. Now, I ain't no hater, so I think this has potential if it's done right, but this is an in-game demo. I gotta see some real gameplay, not scripted. When you think about it, everything is scripted in the annals of time. If only you could mess with time and create a better future. Well, we can't all be Morgan from Clockwork Revolution, a time-bending steampunk RPG from the devs at In Exile. This game has some good old British wit and is centered around an interesting steampunk world. It even has robot people, and it seems like Morgan's time-bending abilities will make the setting more interesting. And since we're talking about wit, I want to know what kind of sick joke id Software is playing on us with Doom: The Dark Ages Revelations DLC. Did I just see my boy the Doomslayer take an L? Doomslayer don't take no L's, he serves them, but it saw the error in their ways and is allowing us, the faithful fan base, to correct this mistake on July 7th. In a darker toned trailer for Fable, we see a tragic hero named Isabel narrate that Albion doesn't need heroes, setting her up as a MCU Thanos style villain, where the ends justify the means. I say a villain because at the end of the trailer we see Jack of Blades in all his terrifying glory. I love the Fable franchise, and I think this is going to be the game to bring the franchise back in a big way. Now, let's bring it back to E-Day with Gears of War, rewinding the clock and seeing when the Locust first popped out, as a young Marcus partners with his good friend Dom and fights back the Horde. Now, I've never been a big fan of the Gears of War franchise, but this showing of the story and gameplay got me interested. It looks like while we fight Locust, we'll have to watch Marcus and Dom grapple with the loss of a brother and a friend. Halo showed off its new remake of Campaign Evolved as well, and Master Chief and Sergeant Johnson facing all kinds of Covenant threats, with 3 new campaign missions, one seems to be including space combat as well as a host of graphical upgrades. If you never experienced the original Halo, this is the perfect time. Some may say, gamer, you crazy if you ain't never touched the OG Halo trilogy. But if we talking crazy, then my girl Senua has you beat. Senua is the third title in the Hellblade trilogy, and our girl is in a golden pickle. She seems to be trapped in a purgatory of sorts. This title strikes me as unique, more so than its predecessors, because the focus is much more action-based than before, hopefully getting people more engaged than previously. And if you want to talk about somebody getting engaged and finally locking in, Spyro can fly on his own all these years later. All jokes aside, I'm shocked this is coming, and in spring next year no less. It seems like Tom Kenny is also reprising his role as Spyro, so hopefully we see more soon. State of Decay 3 though, it's definitely on my gimme list. As a big fan of the first two games, I can't lie, like I haven't been following this game, and I knew it was going to be shown off. While it isn't an in-depth look, we can infer that the community building got an upgrade and the Zeds have gotten worse. Honestly, I'm just bummed out it as a 2027 release date. I need that game right now. Also, how do you expect to survive the apocalypse if you ain't got no community? Don't worry though, you can join us in a cult of your very own. An action survival cult simulator where you gather followers, and build compounds and shrines, customizing your flock, and worship whatever you choose to in a 1 to 4 player co-op. The dark comedy has a lot of character to it, and I can't wait. The devil probably loves cults too, and magicians, as he makes deals with them for their souls in Magician, the Devil's Deal. A first-person game about a man betrayed by his friends, and the devil gives him an opportunity to get his revenge, if he can escape. The design of the devil is top-notch, and from the trailer we can tell he's barely an ally. He seems to hinder the protagonist as well and aid him, and I hope they keep that theme going forward, since moving forward is all we can do sometimes. Let's push on to Metro 2039. Artyom isn't here, and the new faction, the Novo Reich, has taken over the Metro, an authoritarian regime that crushes the people in the name of the Reich. We get a look at Führer Hunter, who controls the Metro with propaganda and an iron fist. Seeing our new protagonist face off with all kinds of mutants and soldiers tells me this is going to be a train ride we don't want to miss. Persona 6 was announced, but the trailer didn't tell me much, nor am I a fan of the franchise, so I don't have anything to add. Sorry, but I won't make myself a liar for content. Though I do know a bit about the Plague Tale games, and with the new Resonance title around the corner, I can't help but be excited. Set 15 years before their first game, we play as Sophia and journey into the heart of the island for origins and answers. Also, she reminds me of the woman version of the OG Prince of Persia, and I can't unsee that. And that's it for the Xbox showcase, and they brought some big guns, but there were some showings I didn't speak on due to time constraints. It just didn't move me during the show. But this doesn't mean the show was bad in the slightest. It just had some duds, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. So if I had to be fair and give it a fair rating, it's also an 8 out of 10. Right next to PlayStation in my opinion. They're both short core games, players were interested in some other stuff for everyone else. To me, neither of them outplayed one another. That cannot be said for Summer Games Fest, which just got right to the games and had something for everyone. And at least to me, Jeff has fully embodied the spirit of the old E3 days. And that's my video. Now, I couldn't talk about every game shown this past week, but I tried to stick to the main ones mostly. So I'm sorry if the game you wanted got left out, but tell me the games you're looking forward to, the ones you liked, the ones you didn't like. Tell me all about it. But for now, my name is the Film King, and I'm gonna holla at y'all later.